That homeless man who walked into the hospital that morning had actually saved over 15,000 lives in the operating rooms on the 7th floor of that very building. But now his hands were shaking, his eyes were empty, and nobody recognized him. When security threw him out, the chief of medicine's assistant was walking down the corridor. What she saw shocked her to the core. Welcome to Grateful Stories, where tales of compassion and kindness are told. Let's uncover what really happened. The automatic doors of Cleveland General Hospital were opening with the first light of morning. As Ohio's cold October wind seeped into the hospital lobby, security guard Michael Rodriguez took the last sip from his thermos coffee and thought about how he had 2 hours left on his shift. Michael was new to this job. He'd only been working for 4 months and was learning something new every shift. He was young, eager, and tried to follow the rules to the letter. The automatic doors suddenly opened and a man walked in. When Michael looked up, the scene before him immediately put him on alert. The man appeared to be in his mid-60s, wearing a worn Cleveland Browns jacket over an old shirt, ripped jeans, and Nike shoes that were soaked to the bone. His beard hadn't been shaved for several days, his hair was disheveled, and he carried the marks of street life. But what Michael didn't notice was that deep, weary look in the man's eyes. These eyes had seen so much. They had saved lives, eased pain, and given hope. Dr. William Bill Harrison was once one of this hospital's most respected surgeons. He had worked here for a full 33 years, from 1983 to 2016, performing thousands of operations in the cardiothoracic surgery department. But right now, he wasn't Bill. Alzheimer's disease had slowly taken hold of him over the past 4 years. He had left his old house in Westside, gotten lost on Cleveland's streets, and somehow made his way here to his former workplace. Though his memories were confused, muscle memory had brought him back to these familiar corridors. Michael stood up and walked over to the man. "Good morning, how can I help you?" he said, his voice official and distant. Bill looked around, confusion in his eyes. I used to work here, I think," he said quietly. His voice was cracked and uncertain, with a slight Midwest accent. Michael frowned. He'd encountered this type of situation before. Homeless people sometimes tried to take refuge in hospitals. "This is a hospital, sir. If you're not a patient, you can't stay here." "Operating room," Bill murmured, his eyes rising toward the ceiling. "7th floor. I was there." "Look, buddy," Michael said, his voice getting a bit harsher. "I don't want to see you here. If you're not a patient, you need to leave." Bill's hands began to tremble slightly. "My patients, I need to check." These words made Michael even angrier. "Patients? You're a doctor? Yeah, right," he said in a mocking tone. "Look, stop the act and get out of here, or I'll have to call security." A moment of clarity appeared in Bill's eyes. "Dr. Harrison, I'm Dr. William Harrison." Michael laughed. "Sure, buddy, and I'm the chief of medicine. Come on, move it." At that moment, the elevator doors from the 7th floor opened and Dr. Sarah Chen stepped out. Sarah was the assistant to the hospital's chief of medicine, Dr. Robert Mitchell, and had been working at this hospital for 9 years. She was hurrying to the morning meeting when she heard the argument in the lobby. Sarah stopped and looked at the scene at the end of the corridor. She saw the security guard arguing with an elderly man. The man seemed familiar, but she couldn't figure out from where. "I know this hospital," Bill said, his voice more determined now. "I walked these corridors thousands of times, in the OR on the 7th floor." "Enough," Michael said. "Get out, now." Sarah approached. When she saw the man's profile, her heart nearly jumped out of her chest. That face, that voice, it couldn't be. "Wait a minute," Sarah said, stepping in front of Michael. She looked at the man more closely. Are you Dr. Harrison?" Michael looked at Sarah in confusion. "Dr. Chen, this guy, are you Dr. William Harrison?" Sarah repeated, her voice trembling. Bill looked at Sarah. A momentary expression of recognition appeared in his eyes. Yes, Dr. Harrison." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "Oh my God, Dr. Harrison, we've missed you so much." Michael's jaw dropped. "What? Are you serious?" Sarah quickly pulled out her cell phone and dialed the hospital's internal line. "Dr. Mitchell? Sarah speaking. You need to get down to the lobby immediately. Dr. Harrison is here." After hanging up, she turned to Bill. "Dr. Harrison, do you remember me? I'm Sarah, Sarah Chen. You trained me." A light appeared in Bill's eyes. "Sarah, yes, Sarah, you were a good surgeon. I still use what you taught me," Sarah said, trying to hold back her tears. "Every single day." Michael was still in shock. But this guy, Sarah said in a harsh tone, "is one of the greatest surgeons in this hospital's history. He worked here for 33 years, saved thousands of lives." At that moment, the elevator doors opened again, and Dr. Robert Mitchell rushed out. The 58-year-old chief of medicine had run downstairs as soon as he received Sarah's call. When he saw Bill, he stopped. "Bill?" he said, his voice almost a whisper.
"Bill, is that really you?"
Bill turned his head and saw Mitchell. Bob Mitchell, are you still here?" Mitchell approached, his eyes full.
"Yes, Bill, still here. And you, where have you been? We looked everywhere."
I forget," Bill said simply. Sometimes I forget where I am." Mitchell turned to Michael. "What did you do to him?"
I didn't know.
Michael stammered.
I was just...
"This man," Mitchell said, his voice loud enough to echo throughout the lobby, "served this hospital for 33 years, performed over 15,000 surgeries, lost only 14 patients in his entire career. 14 patients. This success rate is far above the world average." Other personnel in the lobby had also heard and began approaching. Nurses, doctors, technicians.
"Dr. Harrison?
Said an elderly nurse with a thick Kentucky accent.
Is this really Dr. Harrison?"
"Nancy,"
Bill said, recognizing the nurse.
"are you still here?"
Nancy couldn't hold back her tears.
"Of course I'm still here, Doc. This place wasn't the same without you."
Mitchell turned to Michael.
"How dare you try to throw this man out? This man is a legend in this hospital."
I didn't know."
Michael said, bowing his head in shame.
"Didn't know,"
Mitchell said.
"There's still his photograph hanging in the 7th floor surgical corridor. Dr. William Harrison, Cardiothoracic Surgery, Outstanding Surgeon Award, 2008, 2011, 2013, 2015, it says underneath."
Sarah took Bill's trembling hand.
"Dr. Harrison, what are you doing here? How did you get here?"
"I don't remember," Bill said. "I woke up this morning and felt like I needed to come here. Like someone was waiting for me." Something occurred to Mitchell.
"Is today special, Bill?"
Bill thought. I don't know." Mitchell pulled out his cell phone and quickly typed something. A few seconds later, an answer came. His eyes widened.
"Bill,"
he said slowly.
"Today is exactly 4 years since you retired. Today is your retirement anniversary."
Everyone in the lobby fell silent. Bill's muscle memory had brought him here. His subconscious had felt that he needed to return to his old home on this important day.
"Dr. Harrison,
Nancy said.
would you like to come with us? Show you the 7th floor?"
Bill nodded.
Yes, I'd like that."
As the group walked toward the elevator, Michael ran after them. "Dr. Mitchell, I really didn't know. I'm sorry." Mitchell stopped and looked at Michael. "Let this be a lesson, Michael. Never judge people by their appearance. This man, regardless of his condition now, is a hero who saved thousands of lives." When they reached the 7th floor, Bill looked around. The corridor seemed familiar. He stopped in front of the operating room doors. "Here," he said, his voice getting stronger. "I worked so hard here." "Yes," Sarah said, "and your teachings are still alive. Last week I used your technique in a surgery I performed. the patient made a full recovery. Mitchell pointed to the photograph frame on the wall. "Right here, Bill." Bill looked at his photograph, his young, energetic self in a white coat. "Is this me?" he asked in surprise. "Yes, Bill, that's you, and you were one of this hospital's most treasured doctors." At that moment, an announcement was heard over the hospital speakers. "All staff attention, emergency meeting in the main conference room. All personnel are invited." Mitchell smiled. "I'm calling this meeting. Let's all go downstairs." Hospital personnel had gathered in the main conference room. Doctors, nurses, technicians, cleaning staff, security personnel, everyone was curious. Mitchell went to the microphone. "Dear colleagues, today is a very special day. We have a very precious guest with us, one of the most respected surgeons in our hospital's history, who worked here for 33 years, Dr. William Harrison." The room filled with applause. As Bill walked onto the stage, his hands were trembling, but there was pride in his eyes. "Dr. Harrison," Mitchell said, "I want to tell you something. After you left this hospital, a scholarship was established in your name. Every year, the most successful medical student receives the Dr. William Harrison Excellence Scholarship. So far, 18 young doctors have been educated with this scholarship." Bill's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know." "And," Mitchell continued, "last year the hospital board decided to rename the 7th floor surgical suites as the Dr. William Harrison Cardiothoracic Surgery Center." The sound of applause reached the ceiling. Bill was crying now, but these were tears of joy. Sarah came onto the stage. "Dr. Harrison, I want to read you something. This came from one of your patients last year." She opened the letter. "Dear Dr. Harrison, I'm Maria Santos. You performed my heart transplant in 2009. That day you didn't just give me a new heart, you gave me a new life. 11 years later, I'm still alive, watching my grandchildren grow. Every morning when I wake up, I pray for you. I hope someday we meet again so I can thank you properly." Bill sat down in his chair sobbing. "Maria, yes, I remember Maria. Very difficult case." Mitchell continued. "Bill, you may not remember everything, but we will never forget you. You didn't just heal patients, you inspired young doctors too." Michael stepped forward from the crowd. "Dr. Harrison," he said, his voice trembling, "I treated you badly this morning. I didn't know. Please forgive me." Bill looked at Michael. "You were just doing your job, son. I'm not angry. But if I had known who you were, doesn't matter," Bill said gently. "What matters is now." Mitchell took the microphone again. "Friends, Dr. Harrison will be our guest until we find him a suitable place. And if he wants, he can share his experiences with young doctors. Would you like that, Dr. Harrison?" Sarah asked. Bill looked around. Hundreds of pairs of eyes were looking at him, hopeful, loving eyes. "Yes," he said. "Yes, I would." The applause erupted again, but this time it was different. This wasn't just respectful applause. This was applause welcoming someone home. After the meeting, Mitchell took Bill to his private office. "Bill, I want to show you something." He pulled out a thick file from his cabinet. "These are letters from your patients. They came over the years. I kept them all." Bill opened the file. Hundreds of thank you letters, photographs, children's drawings. "These children," he said, looking at a photograph. "Babies you saved. Now they're grown up. Some became doctors, some teachers. They're all alive because you gave them life." Bill stayed at the hospital that night. When he woke up in the morning, everything seemed clearer. Alzheimer's was still there, but love and respect surrounded him. Sarah came to check on him. "How do you feel, Dr. Harrison?" "Home," Bill said with a smile. "For the first time in a long time, I feel home." 3 months later, the official opening of the Dr. William Harrison Cardiothoracic Surgery Center was held. Bill was there, in clean clothes with his well-groomed beard. Alzheimer's had progressed, but his smile was the same. Michael was there too. Now, whenever he saw Bill, he greeted him with respect. And he told Bill's story to every new security guard. "When you work in this hospital," Michael would say, "never judge people by their appearance, because one day the homeless man you meet might actually be a hero who saved thousands of lives. Even in our darkest moments, kindness finds a way. Often in the quietest places, not with those everyone wants to recognize, but beside someone just trying to find their way home. And sometimes all we need is for someone to say, 'Welcome home.'" You may forget the story, but if no one retells it, history remains silent forever. Subscribe to Grateful Stories, where justice is honored, kindness is remembered, and no act of quiet heroism is ever lost.